for his film sets and set decoration to projects with higher budgets. John's transgressive satires were ahead of their time. His inclusivity is seen in every one of his films, which feature characters from all walks of life. He spotlights social hypocrisies across the spectrum and upends both traditional institutions and radical movements with equal measure. And he always does it from a place of love. In curating this exhibition, Dara and I always kept John's authenticity in the forefront to ensure that our exhibition reflects his work, making you a little bit shocked, laugh out loud, and to see the heart that John imbues in his cinematic stories, and Pink Flamingos is no exception. It is my true honor to bring to the stage now a man who needs no introductions, John Waters.
I made this movie over half a century ago. That is really staggering. We filmed this in the fall of 1971. And it was a time right before porn came legal, right before Deep Throat, right when you could do anything. There was nothing left. And so, as Herschel Gordon Lewis always told me, I made films, exploitation films were putting in things that Hollywood wouldn't show. And it came to the point there was nothing left that they wouldn't show. So I had to think, what can we do that isn't illegal yet? And that was sort of my mission on this movie. And eating the shit scene was, I thought it up when I was smoking pot. And I sent it to Divine. Divine said, oh, sure, I'll eat that. You know, it was no big deal, really. And it was the very last thing we filmed in the whole movie. But, and so to do that, we started, and like everybody makes a film, you make it with your friends. And my friends were a little bit more alarming than most people. But we had had a history, multiple maniacs we had made, and I had made Mondo Trasho where we were arrested. So we wanted to go somewhere where the police couldn't find us. So my friend Bob Adams had a farm that was a commune, and we filmed it on that property, up deep in the woods in Phoenix, Maryland. It was freezing. People say, did you have fun when you made that movie? Fun? Are you kidding? It was 20-hour days. You can see Edith's breath when she's sitting there in a playpen and a girdle and bra. And people would come up that lent us that rented the equipment to me, and they acted like they came upon the My Lai massacre when they came up to, and they saw us, they would run. They would see Edith sitting there going, eggs, eggs, and you know. And Edie was an outsider actress. She really was. And I remember the first day we shot, she worked so hard on memorizing her lines, and she said, eggs, eggs. Edith shakes the playpen. I said, no, you don't say that. As Mink said, we just went for it. It was just kids making a movie. And the very first time I ever showed it at the Baltimore Film Festival, I rented a hall and showed it, and I knew it would be a hit. People went crazy when they saw that ending. And then I went to New Line, and they said they wanted, Bob Shea said, come to New York, we'll sign the contract, but don't bring your friends. And then they kept the movie for a year and a half, and they opened it in a gay porn theater in Boston, and I thought, no one's jerking off watching this movie. And then I kept saying, let's do it at the Elgin, because that was where El Topo was playing. And finally it did, and it went on. And what they forgot to say in here was it played in Los Angeles, was at the New Art for over 10 years, at least one day a week. So it was a huge part of the success of making this film a hit. And we would go to each city one at a time and start it going, and then go to the next city. And as my father said, it spread like cancer. And that's how the film became. It took 3 years to get launched, and it's still playing, actually, you know? And at the time, we didn't realize it, like the red and blue hair that David Lochary and Ming Stoll did. They did that with Magic Marker. Now you can get that at the Rite Aid. Your mother has blue hair now, because she died. And but Ming told me recently she did a show and all the girls lifted up their skirt in the front row and they had dyed pubic hair, dyed blue and red. God. So it's still a trend. It definitely is. And Divine at the time was was, you know, they couldn't go out of the house because Divine had his hair shaved and with that yellow, which was all Van Smith. And Van Smith had so much to do with the success of this movie. And so did Vincent Perenio, who did all the sets and everything. They're so important in the success of this movie that I want to make sure that they were honored. We had censorship battles right from the beginning, especially in the UK. At least they were honest. The censor board said, "We do not know how to deal with intentional bad taste." And it took only till a few years ago where you could show it in the UK uncut. There were 5 scenes. The blowjob, which Danny was totally straight, and he, you know, had to memorize dialogue and get blown in the scene. Then there was the artificial insemination, which was a stand-in vagina, and the girl that played the part still pissed, saying, "That wasn't my vagina." We didn't have intimacy experts in those days. The singing asshole, which, you know, to me, I don't know, even today I wondered, you know, and he just died this year. His name was David Gluck. He was a straight guy, and he said it was a yoga exercise. And the other two, let's see, the Killing of the Chickens, which was the last one that finally went that they approved, because they said it was a joke on Mondo Cane and those kind of movies, and Eating the Shit. So each one of them fell in order over the years. They would rationalize and say it was done for gross out humor, it was this, and it's finally okay to show that movie in London, which is kind of amazing. I'd like to honor, so many people aren't with us anymore when I watch this movie. Certainly Divine, the great Divine, who died in Los Angeles the day before he was going to be on Married with Children as playing the gay uncle, which probably would have been a very successful role. So it's doubly tragic, but he is with us today. People still go to his grave and they write on it, "Cunt eyes," which is a line from this movie, and the graveyard got uptight because families would go on Mother's Day to the grave next to Divine. And the children would say, "What are cunt eyes?" So Divine's still causing trouble. The great Edith Massey, who was, people absolutely loved her. Even Andy Warhol said, "Where did you find her?" David Lockery, who was my first leading man, definitely, the David Niven of Dreamland. Van Smith, of course, the great costumer. Chris Mason, who did all the giant hairdos. My brother, who plays the hitchhiker that they almost run over. Bob Skidmore, my high school friend who plays the postman, who, my favorite line in the whole movie is when Divine says to him, "Run, you fucker, run." Cookie Muller, the great Cookie Muller, who's having such a rival today, like a big success, and they just had a big show about her in New York. There's books about her and everything. Susan Walsh, who's no longer with us, is one of the girls in the pit. So I don't want you to ever forget these people too, because every one of these people were so brave to make this movie and stick with me all these years and have it being remembered tonight by the Academy Awards. How the fuck did that happen? But I want to give a final toast to the curators, Dara.